Icon series.
The fifth type of animals are aerial animals. Aerial animals. Children, so what are aerial animals? So the animals are the insects which spends most of the time in air. So which can spend most of the time in air are called aerial animals. So these animals spend their time in air. Most of the time spent in air. That's why these animals are called aerial animals. So what are the examples for aerial animals? So most of the birds and some insects. So examples are most of the birds, that is crows, hens, and most of the birds and some insects are examples for aerial animals. So all the birds, all the birds will always fly in the air, and they always spend their time in the air, and they always move in the air in search of their food. So that's why these animals are called aerial animals. So how can they fly, and how can they are able to live in the air? So all the animals like human beings and most of the animals, they cannot fly. But how they are able to fly? So what is the special arrangement in the birds? How the birds are able to fly and how the remaining animals are not able to fly? So what is the difference between the birds and animals? So the difference between animals and the birds are, so the birds especially have wings. So the birds have wings, that is two wings. So that's why they are able to fly in the air, whereas the other animals and human beings does not have wings. That's why they does not fly in the air. And also another arrangement in their bodies is their bones are hollow. The bones of birds are hollow. So what is hollow? So hollow means the bones are filled with air. So whereas the bones of other animals are filled with blood and flesh, whereas the bones of the birds are filled with air, that means the bones are hollow. So because of these hollow bones, they become very light in weight. So the hollow bones have less in weight. That's why the body of the birds is very light in weight. That's why they are able to move and they are able to fly in the air. So this less weight body helps them to fly it in the air. So children, these are some special features and some special adaptations in the birds and insects which make them to fly in the air. And whereas if you take some insects like cockroaches, so cockroaches is an insect, it is not a bird, but it can fly in the air and it can move on the land. So because it has wings. So that's why some birds and insects will move, and also butterfly. So what is the example for insects which fly in the air is butterfly. So butterfly is an example for insect which fly in the air like birds. So these are about aerial animals. So what is the difference between birds and other animals is, so the bones are filled with air. The bones of the birds are filled with air, that's why they have hollow bones, and these hollow bones makes the body of the birds very light. So because of this light weight, the birds are able to fly in the air. And also they have some wings. These wings are attached to their body muscles. So that's why they can fly in the air and they can spend most time in the air like other animals. They do not move in the air. So children, so these are the 5 types of animals which are classified on the basis of their habitats. So each type of animals have some special adaptations in their bodies to survive in their habitats. That means to survive in their unfavorable conditions. Now let us discuss about the animals. Let us discuss the classification of animals based upon their food habits. Up to now we have discussed the classification of animals based on their habitats. Now we are going to discuss the classification of animals based on their food. So already we have discussed all animals eat same type of food? No. But different types of animals eat different types of food items. So based upon their food habits, the animals are also classified into three types. So let us see the classification of animals based on their food. So adaptations of food habits. So children, the next classification is based on food habits. So we have classified the animals based on their habitats. Now we are going to classify the animals based upon their food habits. So based upon these food habits, the animals are classified into four types. That is, the first one is herbivores. Herbivores. And second type of animals are carnivores. And third type of animals are omnivores. And fourth type of animals are parasites. So parasites. So children, these are the four types of animals based upon their food habits, and they have also some adaptations in their body according to their food habits. So all the animals does not eat same type of food. Already we have discussed, some animals eat plants and grass, some animals will eat flesh of other animals, and some animals will eat insects. So that's why we have to classify the animals based upon their food habits. So the animals are classified into four types based upon their food habits. The first one is herbivores, and the second one is carnivores, third one is omnivores, fourth one is parasites. So let us discuss in detail about each one type of animals. So let us discuss in detail about first herbivores. So what are herbivores? Children, what are herbivores? Already you have learnt this classification of animals in the lower classes, that is in third class and second class. You have already learned these herbivores. So do you remember those? So let us recall again what are habitats. So what are herbivores? So what are herbivores? So herbivores are the animals which eat only plants. So those animals which eat only plants and grass. So those animals which eat only plants and grass are called herbivores. And these animals eat only plants and grass and only leaves of the plants, and they does not eat another type of like insects or flesh. They only eat plants and grass. That means they depend upon plants and grass for their food. So these animals are called herbivores. So what are the examples for herbivores? So the examples for herbivores are, the first one, it is cow, buffalo, and deer, elephant, horse, rabbit, so children, so etc. So there are so many animals which depend upon their plants and grass for their food. So these are some examples for herbivores: cow, buffalo, deer, elephant, horse, rabbit, goat, sheep. So all these animals are examples for herbivores because they eat only plants and grass. They depend upon plants and grass for their food. And they have some special arrangement in their mouth. They have some adaptations in their mouth to eat only plants. So what are the special arrangements? So what are the adaptations in their bodies to eat plants and grass? So the first one is they have sharp front teeth. So they have sharp front teeth. So this sharp front teeth will help these animals to cut the grass and to cut the plants and leaves. And next one is the back teeth. That means the hind teeth. The teeth present in their mouth are very broad and strong. So they have broad and strong teeth in their mouth. So they have broad and strong teeth present in their mouth. So this broad and strong teeth helpful these animals to chew the food items, in grinding the food items. So these are the some adaptations in their mouth to eat the herbivore, to eat the plants and grass. So children, so this is about herbivores. Now discuss about the second type of animals, that is carnivores. So children, the second type of animals are carnivores. So what are carnivores? The animals which eat only other animals. So that means which eat only the flesh of other animals. Which eat only the flesh of other animals. So they will eat only the flesh of other animals. So these animals are called carnivores. And they did not eat insects and they did not eat plants and grass like herbivores. These animals eat only other animals, the flesh of other animals. That's why these animals depend upon the other animals. They will depend upon flesh of other animals. That's why these are called carnivores. So whereas in herbivores, the herbivores depends upon plants for their food, whereas in carnivores, the animals depend upon another animals for their food. So what are the examples for carnivores? So let us see the animals which are examples for the carnivores are lion, tiger and wolf, jackal, polar bear, so etc. So children, these are the some examples for the carnivores and carnivorous animals. These animals are called carnivorous animals, and generally the carnivorous animals are live in forest. So live in forest means the animals which live in the forest are called wild animals. So most of the wild animals are carnivores. They will eat only the flesh of other animals. They will depend upon other animals for their food. So these are the some examples for carnivores. So children, so what are the adaptations in their mouth for eating flesh? So whereas in herbivores, there are some adaptations in their mouth to eat the grass. In the same way, in carnivores also, there are some adaptations in their mouth to eat the flesh. So let us see what are the adaptations. The first one is they have strong pointed teeth. So they have the long, sharp, pointed teeth. So these teeth will help these animals to tear the flesh. So this strong, sharp and pointed teeth helpful these animals to tear the flesh. And these teeth are also in curved shape. And next one is, so they have also strong claws. So these animals have strong claws and sharp nails. These animals have strong claws and sharp nails. So children, these strong claws and sharp nails of these animals helpful to hold the prey. That means to hold the flesh of other animals, and also helpful to catch their prey. So these are the some special arrangements in the carnivores. So they have especially long, sharp, pointed teeth. So if we observe the lion, tiger, they have two sharp teeth. So at the front of their mouth, they have two sharp, long teeth, and they are in curved shape. They help they help the teeth to these animals to tear the flesh. And they have also strong claws. By using these claws, they can hold the prey and they can hold the flesh while eating. And these strong claws and sharp nails will help these animals for killing the prey and for catching the prey. So children, so this is about carnivores, and these are the some adaptations in their bodies for eating their food. Now let us see the third type of animals. That is, the third type of animals are, children, see the third type of animals. The third type of animals are omnivores. Omnivores. Up to now we have discussed about herbivores, which depend upon plants for their food, and already we have discussed carnivores, which depend upon other animals for their food. Now the third type is omnivores. What are omnivores? So omnivores means those animals which eat both plants and animals. Which eat both plants and animals are called omnivores. So children, so omnivores means these animals can eat both plants and also they can eat animals, flesh of other animals. That's why these animals are called omnivores. And what are the examples for omnivores? So the examples for omnivores are dogs. So dog is an omnivore, and also cats. So cat also is the example for omnivore, and crow. So crow is also omnivore, and bear. So these are some examples for omnivores. And children, human beings are also the best example for omnivores. All human beings can eat both plants, that means they can eat both vegetables and flesh. That's why human beings are the best examples for the omnivores. So human beings are examples for omnivores. So these are the examples for omnivores, and these have also some adaptations in their body to eat both plants and animals. So the main adaptations are, they have also strong pointed teeth. That means strong sharp teeth which help them to cut the food, and they have also a broad strong hind teeth. That is, the teeth inside the mouth are very broad and strong. They help to them to chew the food items and to grind the food items. So these are about the third type of animals, that is omnivores. So children, so see the next type of animals, that is the fourth type of animals, that is parasites. Parasites. So the fourth type of animals is parasites. So what are parasites? So children, what are parasites? So here, these animals, so these animals are these insects, especially they depend upon another animals for their food. They depend upon another animals for their food. So parasites are those which depend upon another animals for their food. So that means here, so not like carnivores, so these are the special type. So what is the special is here is, so these animals depend upon other animals and they will share their food. So they will share their food of the other animals. So that's why these are called parasites. So they cannot get their food by their own. So like carnivores, they will get their food by their own. But whereas parasites, they cannot get their food by their own. So that's why they will depend upon other animals for their food. And they will eat the food of other animals. They will share the food of other animals. So that's why these are called parasites. So what are the examples for parasites? If you take the examples for parasites are, that is roundworm, and hookworm, and the third one is tapeworm. So children, this roundworm, hookworm, tapeworm are some examples for parasites. And also leeches. So leeches are also example for parasites, and mosquitoes. So mosquitoes are also examples for parasites. So if you take parasites, they cannot get their food by their own, and depend upon other animals, and they will share the food of other animals. So these roundworm, hookworm, tapeworm, leeches and mosquito are some of the example for parasites. So how the parasites get their food from other animals? So children, so first they will enter into the body of other animals. So those animals which provide food for these animals are called host animals. Host. So the animals on which these parasites depend upon are called host animals. That means the animals into which they are entered are called parasites. First they will enter into the body of the other animals and they will share the food of other animals. For example, if you take roundworm, hookworm, tapeworm, they will enter into the bodies of cows, pigs, etc. and they will go enter into their body, and from there they will enter into their intestines, and from there they will stuck to their intestines. And after that they will absorb, they will share the food of those animals from the intestines. That means they will absorb the nutrients of the digested food from the intestines. So that's why this roundworm, hookworm, tapeworm are called parasites. So these worms are also present in the bodies of human beings, especially in children. The small children, they will eat soil. So when they are eat unhealthy items, unhealthy fruits, so generally they will enter into their bodies and they will stuck to their intestines, and after sticking to their intestines they will share the food of their babies. So and they will take the food, they will absorb the nutrients of the food which is present in intestine, and they will grow into multiples and they will reproduce their new ones, they will become multiples. So in this way the nutrients absorbed from their bodies, of their host bodies, and there will be loss of and deficiency of nutrients of the host bodies. So generally if these parasites are present in the children become very weak and they are deprived of nutrients, because all the nutrients they are eating will be eaten by these parasites, and those nutrients are not shared by their food, their bodies. So that's why, so these are the example for parasites. And also they does not have any teeth like herbivores and carnivores. These parasites does not have any teeth, and they have like suckers or sucking tubes in their mouth. So by using their suckers or sucking tubes, they will suck the blood from their host animals. So in this way, all the nutrients, all the food items will be sucked by these parasites, and there will be deficiency of nutrients of their host animals. So children, so this is about parasite, that is the fourth type of animals. So in this way, up to now we have discussed the classification of animals based upon their food habits. So there are four types of animals, that is herbivores, carnivores, omnivores and parasites, which are based upon their food habits. Now go to next type, that is the next topic. The next topic in this lesson is adaptation for protection. So different animals have different adaptations in their bodies to protect from their enemies. So children, up to now we have discussed their adaptations in their habitats and their adaptations in their food habits, and now the topic is adaptations from the protection. So what are the adaptations for protection? So children, this is the next topic in this lesson. Up to now we have discussed different type of animals based on their habitats and different types of animals based on their, so based upon their food items. Now the next topic is adaptations for protection. So children, so all the animals should protect from their enemies, because So if there is no protection from their enemies, their race will be ended and they does not survive in their habitats. So as to survive in their habitats and so as to protect from their enemies, so each animal will have some special adaptation in their bodies. For example, if we take, so some animals, for example, if we take hard shells on their bodies. So some animals have hard shells. So these hard shells protect those animals from the enemies. So for example, if you take snails, so children, snails and turtles. So these snails and turtles have hard shells on their surfaces, body surfaces. So these hard shells will protect these animals from the enemies. And so most of the animals escape from the enemies by running away from the enemies. So most of the animals escape from their enemies by running. That means, for example, deer. So deer and cats, mice and dogs, children. So some these animals are examples which can protect themselves from the enemies by running. So these animals have some adaptations in their legs for fast running. So if you take deer, so the legs of the deer are very thin and long legs. So because of these arrangements, the deer can move very speedily and it can protect itself from the enemies. And the next one is, some animals will merge their bodies with their surroundings. So some animals will merge their bodies with their surroundings. That means they will merge their bodies in the color of their surroundings. So this merging of their bodies in their surroundings is called camouflage. So camouflage. So children, what is camouflage? So camouflage means merging of the bodies of animals into the surroundings. So into their surroundings is called camouflage. For example, if we take some chameleon or polar bear, so example polar bear. So already we have discussed about polar bear. This polar bear have a large, that means a thick layer of white color fur on its skin. So this thick white fur layer will merge with the snow surroundings. So here this polar bear has a thick white fur layer on its skin. So this white color fur layer merges the polar bear with its surroundings, because its surroundings are snow surroundings. Generally snow is in white color and this fur is also in white color. So that's why polar bear merges its body with its snow surroundings and it cannot be visible to its enemies or it cannot be visible to other animals. So it can escape from its enemies by using this process camouflage. So children, so this is called camouflage. And also there is another animals like chameleon. So the chameleon will always lies on the trees and plants. So it can changes its body color according to the color of the plants and leaves on which it sits. So another example for camouflage is chameleon. So chameleon, children, so it is a animal which can protect from the enemies by merging its body into its surroundings. So it changes its body color according to its surroundings. So if it settle on a red color plant, so its body color will be changed into red color. And if it is present on the green color plants, its body color will be changed into green color. In this way, the body of the chameleon will be merged into surroundings and it can escape from its enemies by using this camouflage. So next, children, there are some insects like stick insects, that means stick insects and leaf insects. stick insects and leaf insects. So these insects also protects from their enemies by merging their bodies into its surroundings. So these insects also follow this camouflage method to protect themselves from enemies. So stick insects. So this stick insect will be present in the color of the stick, in the color of the branches of the trees. So that's why when it is laid or when it is sit on the branch of this plant, its body color also changes into its branch color. That's why it merges into branch color and it cannot be seen to its ends. Also leaf insects. So it is present in green color. When it is settled on the leaves of the plant, its body color also changes into green color and it does not seem to its enemies. It will be merged into surroundings. So also there is another insect called grasshopper. So grasshopper is a green colored insect. So its body is full of green color and when it is settled or when it is laid on the plant, so it will merge with its surroundings. That means this body color is merged with the green color of the plants or green color of the leaves and it cannot be seen to its enemies. And some other animals have spines on their bodies. So some animals have spines on their body surfaces and these spines protects those animals from the other animals. So children, so these are the some adaptations for protection in different animals. So some have hard shells and some will follow camouflage. That means they will merge their bodies into their surroundings and some animals will run speedily to escape from enemies and some animals like grasshopper, stick insects, leaf insects will merge their bodies into the color of the leaves, into the color of the branches and escapes from their enemies. And some animals will have spines on its body surfaces and those spines will protect those animals from their enemies. So children, so these are the adaptations and some special arrangements to protect themselves from the enemies. So now the next topic in this chapter is, so children, up to now we have discussed some adaptations for protection in different animals. Now the next topic in this chapter is extinct animals. Extinct animals. So children, what is extinction? So already we have discussed that every living organism will reproduce their new ones which are looking similar to them. So this process of producing young babies which are looking similar to their parents is called reproduction. So if there is no reproduction, then they will not continue to live on this earth and their race will become extinct. So there are some animals also which become extinct and most of the animals, that means most of the animals and plants which can be seen in ancient times are no more found today. So some animals and some plants are seen in ancient times, but whereas nowadays they are not found anymore. So why? Because for example, if we take dinosaurs, so children, so if we take dinosaurs, so the dinosaurs can be seen in ancient times, but they are not found no more today. What happens and why they become extinct? So because some animals does not adopt these special features according to the changing climate and changing food habits and changing age. So some animals, they are failed to adapt themselves to the changing climates. So day by day, year by year, there will be change in the climate and there will be change in the food and there will be change in the habitats also. So those animals, so which can change or which can adapt themselves according to the changes climates and changing food habits, are then only survive on the earth, and they only can continue to live on this earth from ancient to up to now. So, but whereas some animals, especially dinosaurs, they are failed in adopting the changes in the climate and changes in the food. So that's why they cannot able to survive on this earth, and they cannot found no more. They are all died in ancient times. So this is extinct animals, and these are the examples for extinct animals, and there are some more species which are at the edges of this extinction. So those animals which are at the verges, which are at the verges of the extinction are called endangered animals. Endangered animals. So what are endangered animals? So endangered animals means those animals which are going to become extinct. So which are going to become extinct, and after some days those animals also cannot be seen like dinosaurs. So those animals which cannot be seen after some years like dinosaurs are called endangered animals, because now they are at the verges of the extinct. So for example, like Bengal tiger and also some sparrows. So in ancient times, in our childhood, we will observe sparrows in every houses. But nowadays, so there are no trees and there are no nestils for laying eggs, and most of the farmers are using fertilizers. So because of these fertilizers and because of the no trees, so the sparrows are at the edges or at the verges of the extinction. So that's why these sparrows and some Bengal tigers and also vultures. So vultures also not observing nowadays. So in this way, some animals are going to become extinct. So this is our responsibility, so to protect those animals which are at the verges of the extinction. That means we have to protect these endangered animals. So these endangered animals to become extinct, because each animal has its own importance in this ecological system. So if any animal is not there, then there will be unbalance in this ecological system. So each one has its own importance. So that's why we have to protect these endangered animals, and we should protect from becoming extinct. So children, so this is about extinct animals. So we are very protect and we are very misery about animals. So children, so this is about the third lesson, life of the animals, life and survival. So this is the end of this chapter. The next chapter will be continued in the next episode.